Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. I'm really excited for this beer review. I'm also really sad because my last bottle of this, but it's Saturday, and on Saturdays I do Cellar Saturday, where I actually drink something off the shelves behind me. And this is Boulevard's, we used to call it BBQ, Bourbon Barrel Quad. It's an ale aged in bourbon barrels with cherries, plural. They didn't just put one cherry in there. And it's 2015. Which I think the last few Cellar Saturdays I've done were 2015, so that must have been a big year for me aging beer. It says best by September 2017. It is currently March 2023, so way beyond what they're saying was best by. So if this beer is awful, it's on me. I'll read the back. I don't know if there's any tasting notes, but whatever. Based loosely on the Smokestack Series 6 glass, this Abbey-style quadruple, after fermentation on cherries, was separated into a number of oak bourbon barrels where it aged for varying lengths of time, some cases as long as a year. Selected barrels were often blended for optimum flavor. The resulting ale retains only a very subtle hint of cherry characteristics, with toffee and vanilla notes coming to the fore. Our special limited release ales are made in very small batches. When they're gone, they're gone. I know, I'm well aware of that. Man, I think I got this before they were in New York. I think, because 2015, was that before, I'm using an Omegang glass because they're owned by the same company. Was that before Duvel, however you pronounce it, bought them? Might be. Oh. Nothing crazy has happened yet, so that's a good sign. This is specifically a Three Philosophers glass from Omegang, which is their Belgian style quad. But I also I like it because it's smaller format, so it helps me drink slower. Because I didn't look at the ABV. Actually, it's got to be a bigger one. 11.8%. So yeah, I kind of put in my mind anyway, Belgian quads are about 10%. So a little heftier, but that makes sense with the barrel aging. I mean, that's a beautiful beer. I tell you what, all these years later, it looks just how I think a quad should look. There are a decent amount of particulates floating around. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not. But it's a very burnt orange, a little bit of brown in the center, more of like a red crimson as you're going out towards the glass into orange. There was probably maybe a full finger ahead when I first poured it. It's a light khaki, relatively compact bubbles. It's a beautiful looking beer. Let's get into the aroma. Ooh, okay, so I tell you what, there is still a little bit of cherry there, but yeah, like this vanilla oak mixing with the dried fruits, brown bread, a little bit of molasses, back to like dates and caramelized sugar notes. I love this style when it has some plum. I'm not getting a plum, but everything else I'm getting is like really nice. I wouldn't say I get bourbon specifically, but the fact that I get some vanilla and oak is those are just nice additions and layers to what I'm smelling. That's definitely more like just base quad. There's like is it lemongrass? There's like a soft citrus note and slight herbaceous. But I mean, this is like way after everything else that I've listed. That's interesting. And it's that aspect of it's interesting. Everything else smells like freaking fantastic. Let's get to taste. Cheers. Hope you guys are drinking well. I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at this at all. Wow. Wow. So like the aroma, I get oak and vanilla, but there is just a little whisper of bourbon throughout, which is nice. Man. Yeah, this is really good. Actually, it does follow the aroma in a lot of ways, but like the intensities are different. Like, also, I'm happy to report I do get a little bit of plum, so that's awesome. Whereas the aroma, I was getting more like the dates and caramelized sugar, but also getting some molasses. This one had, in like brown bread, this has more liquid brown bread, with like heavy on the molasses. I was going back and forth on the smell of it, but the same thing is happening in the taste. So like you get like that illusion of baking spices as well, cinnamon, clove, that kind of thing. But it doesn't like actually taste like that stuff. So I guess like the intensities for me swapped, right? Like they switched. So like the dried fruits and all that stuff is here, but it's a little secondary to the molasses, the brown bread, and again like the illusion of baking spices mixed in with the brown bread stuff. Some warming in the chest, which is nice, but nothing too crazy. The ABV is I would say pretty well hidden on the palate. I really like the smell. I like it a lot. And yeah, you know what? I think they're right. Like there's not a ton of cherry, but there's just enough. It kind of makes me think of Three Philosophers. Has a little bit of, that creek in it. And it gets just a little spicy. Like this exact thing in rye whiskey barrels, like accentuating that kind of almost to a point where it tastes like rye barrels. Like that, like rye spiciness. That would be decadent, I think, too. This is really good. I guess I can, I don't know, keep sipping. Oh, and that little citrus thing I was talking about before, I could see a little bit of orange marmalade in this. Little bit. So it's like desserty, but it's not super sweet. You know what it reminds me of too? Just combine all these things, I guess. It's kind of like a fruit cake that you infuse with some bourbon, but like you burn the bourbon off, so like it doesn't have a huge bourbon, but there's like whispers of bourbon. That's really apt. And then you can get all like the different kinds of like dried fruits and stuff in with this breadiness of it. Like candied orange peels, that kind of a thing is how the orange hits. I'm getting a little bit of alcohol, but not like on the taste. It's more of like breath, like alcohol breath. But I'm glad it's not on the taste. I mean, this style I don't mind a little bit of alcohol. This is good. Have you guys had this beer before? I know it's been a while. If you had anything from Boulevard lately, nothing against Boulevard, but I don't hear people talking about them much, So have you had anything from Boulevard recently? Thoughts on it? I don't remember the last time I had a fresh Boulevard anything. That's sad because I'm sure they make some really good beer still. Maybe I should look next time I'm at the store. But yeah, if you've had something, let me know and I can look for it. Are you drinking something else special? Are you drinking a Belgian-style quad? Are you drinking something aged in bourbon barrels? I will say this, since they're owned by the same company, but again, this might be before they were purchased. I'm included in the camp that thinks Ommegang doesn't barrel age long enough for their barrel age releases. This is more barrel than I get in like a bourbon barrel aged Three Philosophers, just for what that's worth. But anyway, any thoughts? Comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untappd. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.